You want healthy, glowing skin, but with all the products, trends, and conflicting advice, it's hard to know what actually works. I understand. I am Dr. Tina Meder, a former cardiologist and specialist in the skincare development and cosmetic safety expert. I've spent years studying the science of skin. Welcome to Meder Beauty podcast, where we uncover what really matters, break down the science, and give you real expert-backed skincare advice. Whether you're looking to achieve radiant, healthy skin, curious about anti-aging, or want to understand what's really in your product, you are in the right place. Rooted in science and the truth about what your skin actually needs, we'll have in-depth conversations with leading dermatologists, medical experts, and skincare brand founders to bring you the latest innovations, evidence-based insights, and industry secrets that truly make a difference. We are so happy you are here. So let's go. Hello, dear listeners of our The Skin We Live In podcast. Today I will speak about one of the most popular ingredients of the modern skincare, hyaluronic acid. It is so highly popular. We inject it, we drink it, we apply it on the skin, and very probably everyone heard about it. But there are a lot of questions which are still unanswered, at least for non-professionals. If hyaluronic acid-based skincare is really useful and efficient for your skin, what is the difference between long-chain or high-sized and low-sized short-chain hyaluronic acid, which you can see this information a lot on different websites of the cosmetic products? Are injectables based on the hyaluronic acid really safe, and how to use them properly? Does oral supplementation of hyaluronic acid works? And a lot of other questions. Prepare to get an answer in the upcoming 30 or 40 minutes, or possibly a little bit longer. As you know me, I cannot stop myself. I speak always longer than I plan to do it. So what is the hyaluronic acid? Hyaluronic acid, it is a molecule which very often is marked as a moisture magnet in the skin. And sometimes people speak about it like injectable elixir of youth, because it is able to hold a lot of water molecules, like hundreds of water molecules for one molecule of hyaluronic acid. So it's very hydrophilic, and it can moisturize a lot because a small amount of hyaluronic acid can hold a lot of molecules of the water on the skin surface or even deeper. But we should understand that the hyaluronic acid, it's not only skincare ingredients, and especially it is not only injectable fillers ingredients. It is a biological substance. It is a biological polymer which appears everywhere in the human body, but also all around us in the living being in the world. The same hyaluronic acid which we keep in our skin and which we inject to fill wrinkles in our face is more or less present in the jellyfish bodies. The same hyaluronic acid you can find in the skin of the mouse, of the cat, of the fish, and hyaluronic acid exactly the same as in human, and it's proven to be by the genetic similarity you can find in the very early chordates. So maybe it is one of the scientific evidence of the evolution. And when we are speaking about the hyaluronic acid, we should understand this is the substance which is absolutely essential and crucial for our body. Without the hyaluronic acid, our body cannot function. We have the hyaluronic acid not only in our skin, but also it makes a big part of the vitreal body of our eye globes. It is a big part of synovial liquid in our joints. We have hyaluronic acid in the lungs, in the liver, in the kidneys, literally everywhere around our body. Chemically, it is a polymer. scientifically speaking, chemically speaking, it is glycosaminoglycan, polysaccharide, and we have a lot of glycosaminoglycans circulating in our body, but hyaluronic acid is probably the most common of all of them. And it can be called also, just to make it easier, hyaluronane or hyaluronate. So when you heard speaking about hyaluronic acid or hyaluronate or hyaluronane, they are absolutely the same. And it is a very long polymer which built only from two substances in the repeated sequence. It's D-glucuronic acid and acetyl D-glucosamine. And like this, we do it millions of times. And the size of hyaluronic acid depends on the amount of these repeated sequences. In our body, hyaluronic acid is very big. It's, in the average, it contains about 25,000 of these repetitive units. So the size of hyaluronic acid in our body can be weighted in $1 million. If you listened the episode How Cosmetic Penetrates into the Skin, which I highly recommend you to listen, you probably heard about 500 Dalton rule, which is formulated like every substance with a molecular weight less than 500 Dalton penetrates into the skin easily. Every substance larger than 500 Dalton cannot penetrate into the skin. Imagine 500 Dalton and 25 millions of Daltons. In our synovial liquids in joints, we have hyaluronic acid with a size from 6 to 10 millions of Daltons. It makes the synovial joint very liquid and very silky. And actually, it works like a shock resorbers for our knees and for everything in our body. So these substances, when applied on the skin, it cannot penetrate into the skin at any way. So we cannot use the native hyaluronic acid in the skincare, only to cover the skin. And most of all, native hyaluronic acid, it is so big, it will work as a mask, not even in the moisturizer. So why we need such a huge molecule in our body and how it works in our body? First of all, it functions as a shock absorber in our joints and in our eye globes. Also, it can help maintain the structure. With the help of hyaluronic acid, our dermis, deeper layers of our skin, are very elastic. It's large and it's really has this matrix-like texture, at least in the young skin. Hyaluronic acid helps to create and maintain the structure of our kidneys and of our other inner organs. But in the same time, hyaluronic acid acts as a messenger as well, because it doesn't live in our body forever. And it is a fun fact that our body renews the hyaluronic acid every day up to 30%. So all hyaluronic acid which been synthesized in your body today will leave your body in 3 days in a row, because that's the average lifespan of the hyaluronic acid which circulates in your body. So it is always fresh. But when it is absorbed by our body, first of all, it is defragmented. You remember this 25,000 units, the huge long polymer chains, and with these little scissors of enzymes, it just cut it off to the very little fragments. And these fragments, our body uses in a different way. These fragments can be used as signals, and they are signaling about the information. They are used as different kind of danger signals. And also they can help to cells migration. For example, when your skin is burnt or scratched or any other way damaged, the hyaluronic acid fragments came to the skin and helps your skin cells, keratinocytes, to migrate and to cover this damaged surface, creating the new healthy, healing, and protecting skin barrier. So when the cells migrate in this area, they start to multiply and they start to recreate this new healed surface. If you lack the hyaluronic acid in this area, if your skin, if your tissue have been very dry, very probably this migration process will be impaired and it leads to scarring and to the very late and problematic regeneration. But in the same time, the hyaluronic acid can be used for the migration of cancer cells as well. And it can be a very big problem. Our body uses hyaluronic acid in many ways. Some of them, they are very beneficial for our body. But some of them can be dangerous as cancer metastasis and cancer migration. So it is the reason to think twice and to be very smart about the use of the hyaluronic acid in aesthetic practice. Also, another fact about the hyaluronic acid, when we speak about it, I notice that a lot of people and even medical professionals, they imagine that we have a lot of hyaluronic acid in the body. Maybe it is based on the ideas, and when you injecting fillers to fill wrinkles, most of the time they use some significant amounts of the product, like 1 milliliter or so, 2 milliliters, or even more, to fill these lines and folds. But in fact, we have only about 15 grams of hyaluronic acid circulating in our body. If we count on the weight of the molecules itself, it looks so huge because it absorbs and holds a lot of water molecules. But they are only 5 grams for an average weighted, let's say 70 kilo weighted person. And these 15 grams of the hyaluronic acid, they are playing a lot of function. They are creating the form and shapes of many of our organs. And it maintains the structure of the whole huge surface in our skin, and at minimal size. Our skin has a surface about 2 until 3 meters, and some scientists think that we can, if we calculate the surface of the skin with all appendages, like hair follicles and lines and folds and whatever, it can be until 30 square meters. And all the structures, it's maintained by the 15 grams of the hyaluronic acid, and each 5 grams of this hyaluronic acid is renewed every day. So let's see. Hyaluronic acid is synthesized and renewed in our skin. Actually, hyaluronic acid is very important not only for deep skin layer, such as dermis, but also for the epidermis. But hyaluronic acid is synthesized exclusively by fibroblasts, cells of the deep skin layers, cells of the dermis. And if you are aesthetic professionals or medical professionals or beautician, you know that fibroblasts synthesize collagen as well. Yes, they're the same collagen producing cells, and the same cells produce, and surprise, they produce another protein, elastin as well. So that's the whole trinity of the skin texture, a skin architecture: collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid. Collagen and elastin, they are proteins. So to synthesize these proteins, fibroblasts needs a lot of amino acid. And hyaluronic acid, it is glycosaminoglycan, so it is a polysaccharides. And we need other substances. We need also to synthesize hyaluronic acid. And for all these processes, we need a lot of energy. With age-related changes, everything in our body changes. And if you listen to the episode about the collagen, you remember I explained how collagen synthesis is changed in the aging body. It's one of the very significant signs of the skin aging. The change not only of the amount of collagen which is present in our skin. Yes, it would be less of collagen in the skin. But most importantly, the changes will be quantitative. So it's not only about the quality, it's about the quantity. It's not only less of collagen, it is weaker collagen, which cannot maintain this young, healthy, tenable, tight skin structure. The same happens with the hyaluronic acid. When we are young and when our skin and our body function properly, hyaluronic acid fill our skin matrix, creating this full matrix around collagen and elastin fibers. And this gel-like, very water-rich matrix fills the skin, creating the condition when you can grimace, when you can do whatever you want, and wrinkles just don't form in your skin because skin is so full and so strong. But when we start to lose hyaluronic acid, and when the hyaluronic acid starts to change, the situation changing as well. So wrinkles are forming much easier. What happens with the synthesis of the hyaluronic acid? We just stop to produce enough of hyaluronic acid by fibroblasts in our dermis. And our fibroblasts start to produce another glycosaminoglycan, but it is less water holding. It calls heparin sulfates. And these heparin sulfates also slow down the cell's growth and also slow down the cell's activity. So more of this new glycosaminoglycan you have on your skin, less of collagen skin cells will produce, less of hyaluronic acid will produce, and less of elastin they will produce. So it answers to the question, why fibroblasts transplanted from the older skin don't work like fibroblasts transplanted from the young skin. Because you not only need more fibroblasts in your skin, you need different fibroblasts, you need young cells. Because aged cells, they are switching those changes which we call senescence. When they are not only less active, they are acting differently. They produce different substances, and these substances, they are not so good to maintain the structure. So you can have the same amount of glycosaminoglycan in your skin, but you can have more wrinkles because these glycosaminoglycans are different. Also, as I mentioned previously, we have hyaluronic acid in the superficial layers of the skin as well, in the epidermis. And with an age, we start to lose the hyaluronic acid from the epidermis as well. And it means and it leads to the inflammation of the skin. Because, you remember, hyaluronic acid cannot just evaporate from the skin or disappear from the skin. It starts to defragment itself. And this small amount, the short chains of repetitive fragments of hyaluronic acid, they are pro-inflammatory and they are irritating for the skin. So they create the situation of constant itching, of constant discomfort, impaired healing, and it leads to lower elasticity. And obviously, reduced water holding capacity of the skin because hyaluronic acid, which works as a moisture water magnet, attracts these water molecules in the skin and keep it into the skin, keep it on not only in the surface, but most importantly, in the deep skin layers. Less of hyaluronic acid in the skin means we have less moisturizer skin. But contrary to popular belief, chronological age, it's not the primary driver of hyaluronic acid loss in our skin. Yes, we lose hyaluronic acid with an age, but we start to lose it earlier. Even young skin can lose a significant amount of the hyaluronic acid because it was damaged. And what is the key damaging factor for the skin? Yes, ultraviolet. Ultraviolet rays can destroy hyaluronic acid directly, unfortunately, and also it can provoke even more active inflammation in the skin. And ultraviolet damages the fibroblasts as well. How hyaluronic acid is destroyed in our skin? It is because ultraviolet damages fibroblasts, and in fibroblasts we have this shift of the activity because, as you understand, fibroblasts are very busy cells. They produce collagen, they produce elastin, they produce hyaluronic acid, but they produce also enzymes destroying collagen, elastin, and hyaluronic acid. More of these enzymes you have produced by fibroblasts, more it will destroy protein and hyaluronic acid. So more enzymes, less of structure. The rule is simple. Ultraviolet stimulates the production of these enzymes called metalloproteinase. For the easy way, there are different types of metalloproteinase, or MMP, how you will see them written in the scientific publication. We have MMP called collagenase, specifically eating collagen. We have MMP elastase, specifically eating elastin, and we have hyaluronidase, specifically eating hyaluronic acid. And what is very interesting about it, they cannot be synthesized in isolation. If your skin cells start to produce more of enzymes destroying hyaluronic acid, they will produce more of enzymes destroying collagen and elastin as well. So Holy Trinity come and go all together. And this defragmentation of the hyaluronic acid also can lead to structural changes in the skin because, as I mentioned previously, these small fragments, they can provoke the inflammation of the skin, and also they can provoke the process which we called granulation in the skin, when it forms like a very small seed into the skin level, when you can feel when you touch the skin, like some kind of very small seeds or nuts in the skin, very small granulomes in the skin. So it changes the skin texture, it makes it less unified. They are not cancer-like, so they are not dangerous, but they can change the metabolism in the skin. And the big amount of these granulomas affects the communication between cells, affects the energy level in the skin, and it provokes and fastens the aging process in the skin. So it really accelerates the skin aging or the other organs aging. But being itself one of the age-related changes, it is one of the aspects of the skin aging. So it is very important not only to boost the synthesis of collagen or hyaluronic acid, not only to try to find the new sources of hyaluronic acid for your skin and your body, but most importantly, it is to protect the hyaluronic acid in your skin. It is one of the most important things because you cannot replace hyaluronic acid fully. And when granulomas are formed, it's very difficult, if it's even possible, to eliminate or to reabsorb them. So once it's done, this damage can be irreversible. However, hyaluronic acid, it is an amazing substance which we need for our body. And recently it was found that hyaluronic acid can play the role in the active longevity. And very probably can be the crucial role. We didn't think about it earlier. And hyaluronic acid wasn't seen as an active longevity substance. But latest research about one of my favorite animals called naked mole rat showed that hyaluronic acid makes this naked mole rat, if not living eternally, but one of the most resilient animals on the planet Earth. If you are interested in the biology, you've probably heard about naked mole rat. It is a small subterranean rodent which lives very discreetly, very humble, little wrinkled mouth, which can survive the radiation, which can survive in the cosmic space. It doesn't suffer from the cancer. And naked mole rats, they are living up to 40 years. If you compare it with a normal mouse, domestic mouse, which lives 1 or maybe 1.5 years, the rodent of the same size live like 40 times longer. What is the secret of the naked mole rat? There are a lot of research about these small animals, and recently by the scientific team of the Rochester University in the USA, it was found that probably the key substance of the naked mole rat longevity is a hyaluronic acid. This small wrinkled mouse has very unusual hyaluronic acid. The chain of hyaluronic acid in their body, they are super long. They are very long, very stable, and very resilient. And hyaluronic acid, it is a powerful antioxidant itself. And when these chains are so long, it protects the body of these animals from free radicals at any type of damage so powerfully, then it does not suffers from any inflammation-related diseases. And also very probably the stable chains of the hyaluronic acid, which cannot be defragmented so easy, they help to protect it from the cancer development, from the migration of the cancer cells. Why it is so interesting for us, people working in the skincare industry, for me as a skincare developer? Because it happens to be that these hyaluronic acids, these big stable chains of hyaluronic acid, potentially can play a significant role or in the active longevity of the human body and the human skin. But in the mole rat, hyaluronic acid is not only actively synthesized. Actually, the synthesis of hyaluronic acid is very stable, but it's not so incredibly powerful like you could expect in this situation. But they have much lower activity of these famous MMP enzymes, hyaluronidase in the first place. So it is not destroyed. And it is a new direction in the active longevity skincare, addressing the hyaluronic acid metabolism. We are not trying to make fibroblast skin cells to produce more of hyaluronic acid. We are trying to suppress the activity of enzymes destroying hyaluronic acid. And there are new peptides and new plant extract like delphinium, which can be very useful in this situation. And if we can reduce the activity of enzymes and prevent the destruction of the hyaluronic acid, it leads us to the active longevity, it prevents the inflammation, it prevents the potential formation of granuloma in the deep skin layers, and simply speaking, it leads to the skin longevity. Obviously, it doesn't mean just an application of the hyaluronic acid or one of the substances of the skin resolve our problem, but it is a hope, right? So how we use the hyaluronic acid in the skincare? First of all, you should understand that we can use different types of hyaluronic acid. There are many types of it. It's not just only one. But on the label, in the list of ingredients, you will see two versions. First version calls hyaluronic acid. They are big molecules. It is not the native human hyaluronic acid, but kind of big molecules, big polymers, which can have weight up to few millions of Dalton. We call it long-chained hyaluronic acid or high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, HMW. And in the average, even 500 Dalton of the molecular weight of this substance completely forbids the penetration of high molecular weight hyaluronic acid into the skin. It stays on the surface, it doesn't move, it cannot penetrate. Even if the skin was damaged, even if you used any types of enhancers, it's just impossible. So the high molecular weight hyaluronic acid is only superficial, only for the skin surface. But we have low molecular weight hyaluronic acid. In the list of ingredients, it will have another name. It will be called sodium hyaluronate. Also hyaluronic acid, but low molecular weight, short-chained sequences. And the molecular weight of this type of ingredients will be at minimum 5,000 Daltons up to 20,000 Daltons. If you compare it with high molecular weight hyaluronic acid, it is very small, 100% less or even more. If you compare it with 500 Dalton, it is very big. So even low molecular size hyaluronic acid cannot go further than into the epidermis. So we are using this different size of molecule of hyaluronic acid for different purposes. Low-sized molecular weight hyaluronic acid is used mostly in the skincare product, which can penetrate deeply into the stratum corneum, maybe go on the layers of superficial layers of epidermis. And if the skin is highly damaged, very thin, very permeable, and the hyaluronic acid is applied at nighttime, it can go deeper, but still it will never go to the dermis properly. It can interact with keratinocytes, cells in the epidermis. It activates and potentiates the intercellular communication. And cell communication, it is one of the hallmarks of aging. So if you are able to improve cell-to-cell communication in the skin, you slow down the aging process. So it is really great. Also, these small fragments of hyaluronic acid, they are water absorbing. So when we are using this small-sized hyaluronic acid, still it's moisturizing, but it moisturizes the skin deeper, which is really great. It helps to fill superficial wrinkles. It makes your skin look much fresher, and it makes your skin not only thicker, but also stronger, more resilient, restore at least partially the skin elasticity. But the danger of these small fragments of the hyaluronic acid, as you remember, they are pro-inflammatory. So in the sensitive skin, they can provoke the inflammation. So they should be used very carefully. And because of that, in the most of formulation, we are using low-sized and high-weight hyaluronic acid altogether, because high-weight molecular weight is covering the skin surface with this water-holding film. And it is instantly calming ingredients. So when we are applying the hyaluronic acid-based serums or gels on the skin, it calms down the inflammation, it calms down the irritation, it restores, it creates this pool of water on the skin surface, it moisturizes the skin, it is very comfortable. And in the combination with the low-sized molecular hyaluronic acid, it creates this combined effect of improved cell-to-cell communication, which we read as an anti-aging active longevity effect, with a calming, moisturized, comforting, and wrinkles filled effect on the skin surface. Some people, I have heard people say that hyaluronic acid in the long chain and the big native size, it is useless because it doesn't penetrate into the skin. And not everything which is not penetrating into the skin is useless. It is very useful to restore the skin hydration. And that's what hyaluronic acid does. Also, there are some research showing the potential epigenetic activity even of big molecules of hyaluronic acid, which can interact indirectly with keratinocytes in the epidermis. Low-sized molecules of hyaluronic acid definitely can do so. And they are not only acts as an independent substances, they also can speak to genes and upregulate or downregulate genes involved in the water holding ability of the skin, into the formation of the barrier function of the skin, and also into the activity of fibroblasts as well. So hyaluronic acid is epigenetically active, is moisturizing, is calming, is anti-inflammatory. So it has the whole spectrum of this effect. But when you are using hyaluronic acid-based products, that also can be a little bit tricky, because sometimes they can be slightly drying when you apply it on the skin. That's why some people, especially people who are living in the area when air conditioning is used intensely, or they are just living somewhere when the air is dry, they are not very happy with hyaluronic acid-based product. Also, you can notice that your hyaluronic acid moisturizer dry off your skin during the flight, especially long-distance flight. Why it happens? Because the activity of the hyaluronic acid on the skin, the water-holding capacity of hyaluronic acid on the skin, they depends on the humidity of the air. If the humidity of the air is 70% or higher, hyaluronic acid hold water molecules. If the air humidity is lower than 70%, hyaluronic acid start to liberate water molecules. They start evaporate from the skin. And that's why in the modern formulation with hyaluronic acid, it's very often formulators, including me in Medar, we are using some lipids like ceramides or squalane or lecithin, which is really lightweighted and very pleasant and very friendly to the hyaluronic acid. So when you apply it on the skin, lipids, they seal hyaluronic acid on the skin and make it less dependent of the air humidity. But in the high street skincare products, hyaluronic acid very often is not sealed with lipids. So if you would achieve the same effect, which you can achieve with more sophisticated formulation, you should apply lipid-based product like moisturizer after applying hyaluronic acid-based serum or gels to get the same effect. And in skincare, we know a lot how to use the hyaluronic acid. That's one of the most popular ingredients, and it is very safe, even the low-sized molecular weight hyaluronic acid, so we know how to use it. And they're used largely in moisturizers, in skincare product for sensitive skin, in the skincare product for aged skin, and even for the post-care skincare. For example, hyaluronic acid-based serum and gels to help to regenerate the skin after laser or dermabrasion or after chemical peels. It works well. But also that's a whole different aspect of hyaluronic acid use in supplement and especially in injectables. Let's start from the supplements because the story is very short here. I will not say it doesn't work at all, but let's say that there are not strong scientific evidence that it works. When you drink some supplements based on the hyaluronic acid, it digested by your body. It digested in the stomach and the gut. And when it is digested, it's cut it off to the very little fragments of this glucuronate and dehyaluronate. So when it travels to your body, that's no guarantee that it will be used by fibroblasts of your skin to build a new big 25,000 unit size hyaluronic acid weighing millions of Dalton. Your fibroblasts are not producing hyaluronic acid not because they don't have substances to produce it. They cannot produce it because they are aged or they are damaged, or hyaluronic acid is simply destroyed by the enzymes, and even the new hyaluronic acid, if theoretically it will be produced, it will be destroyed as soon as it can be because it takes 3 days to renew hyaluronic acid in our body. So it doesn't make really sense. It's better to maintain the healthy diet, be physically active, and to drink enough of the pure water. So here there are no evidence, but obviously with fillers, with injectables, we have a lot of evidence and it works. Just what I would say about injectable fillers, and we should not be confused about the role of injectable fillers in aesthetic medicine. Very often you see our industry, beauty industry and aesthetic medicine industry, they're very generous on promises. They promise you anti-aging effect, the slow down of the skin aging using fillers based on hyaluronic acid, and a lot of things. But hyaluronic acid-based fillers, as any other fillers, which are able to hold water molecules, so to fill some volume and so to eliminate wrinkles, lines, or folds in your skin. They are not active longevity tools. They are sculpting tools. It is mostly aesthetics. It is not a real active longevity treatment because it is not substitute for your own hyaluronic acid in your body. You remember that hyaluronic acid renews in 3 days. For injectables, there are roughly 2 types of hyaluronic acid-based injectables. First, it is not cross-linked or lightly cross-linked hyaluronic acid, which often is called skin boosters, kind of products used for mesotherapy of the face largely, not just for filling lines. And cross-linked hyaluronic acid fillers designed to create volume and structures locally in some specific place when you want it. For example, plump lips, or fill wrinkle, or fill the line. Non-cross-linked or lightly cross-linked hyaluronic acid mainly should improve hydration and turgor in the injected area. And it can do so, but it replaces the turgor in the dermis layer, not in the epidermis. And it doesn't replace any of the skin protection. And most of the time, the skin is dehydrated, not because it lost somehow hyaluronic acid from the deep. It is dehydrated because the water is evaporated from the skin surface, because your skin lacks of lipids, fatty acids, protective mantle. Your skin cells are not functioning enough, or your skin is damaged by something, from the ultraviolet until aggressive skincare, which just dissolve your precious lipids on the skin or renews your skin too actively. And when you inject the hyaluronic acid into your skin, it creates some temporary hydration look, but it gives mostly the plumped look of the skin. But it cannot rebuild the dermal architecture. And it's very easy to go to the puffiness, which I'm sorry to say, but it looks like a caricature in many cases. It doesn't look natural at all. Puffy face doesn't mean useful plump face. It's very difficult to achieve natural results. Yes, sometimes it can be used, but it's very temporary solution and kind of traumatic solution because needles are here. And with non-linked hyaluronic acid, you need to get many of injections in your face to get this temporarily, deeply moisturized skin. With cross-linked hyaluronic acid, the situation is different. They are designed to stay into the skin. And they are so hardly cross-linked, then officially they stay in the skin for 3, 4, up to 6 months. But recent research with deep ultrasound of the skin, they showed that you can find the fragments of cross-linked hyaluronic acid in the skin 2 years after injections been done, 3 years after that. And in some cases, research shows that hyaluronic acid could stay in the skin 15 years after injections. Not fully, but some places are still filled with this old hyaluronic acid. What does it mean for your skin? First, then, physiologically, hyaluronic acid in your skin is resorbed in 3 days. It is always fresh. And hyaluronic acid in your skin creates the matrix for the transport of different kinds of active ingredients and also for the cell-to-cell communication. When hyaluronic acid stays in the skin for the longer time, we know that it is pro-inflammatory because it defragments itself naturally on the low level, and these small fragments of the hyaluronic acid, they provoke and maintain low-grade inflammation. And surprise, this low-grade inflammation is called inflammaging. It is one of the integrative hallmarks of the aging in the human body, not only into your skin. So, yes, we sculpt the face with stabilized cross-linked hyaluronic acid, potentially provoking in the same time intense aging in the same area. So we sculpt and accelerate the tissue aging in the same time. Theoretically, it's really accelerates the development of the senescence phenotype into the skin. And does it worse this effect of the sculpted face? Probably for some people, yes. But if you ask me, I will not recommend it. And just results and cost effect combination is far from being ideal for me as a practitioner and for me as a potential client. So I don't do it. But still, the safety profile of fillers is good enough if your practitioners has an experience and they're properly educated and uses good products, licensed products for injections. Just probably you should be a little bit less excited about potential miracle and anti-aging effects in your skin and more careful about potential side effects and about long distance impact on your skin of different fillers. So to sum it up, hyaluronic acid, it is essential biological substance which circulated in our body and which is an essential part of our skin architecture. It's not only human. We have the hyaluronic acid in our skin very similar to the hyaluronic acid, which is proud to have jellyfish in the ocean. But we see that in animal world, hyaluronic acid can play very significant part in the active longevity, and research in this domain gives us a new hope to achieve the active longevity, not only for the skin, but for the body. Very probably, this hope is not laid in the area of aesthetic injections. But let's see what the future brings us. And let's discuss it further. Active longevity is one of my very favorite topics. Please, if you have any questions, I know this topic is very controversial. Please leave a comments. I will try to answer all your questions, and let's continue this discussion. Speaking about the active longevity, like this episode, share this episode, recommend the Skin We Live In podcast to your friends, and let's discuss it openly and bravely. Thank you for joining us today on the Meder Beauty podcast. If you found this helpful, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an expert skincare tip. Have a question or topic you'd like for me to cover? Send me a message at podcast@mederbeauty.com and let's keep the conversation going. Also, you can visit mederbeauty.com and discover Meder Skincare, which I created. And if you enjoyed the show, I'd love if you left a review. It helps others find the podcast and keeps us growing. Until next time, stay healthy, stay glowing, and take care of your skin.